Okay, what other questions do we get in here? Interesting one. Who the guy is in all of my videos recently? Ugh, kind of stings, that one. What age did you know you wanted to move to the city of dreams? There comes a stage where you have to move on from it, which is so sad. Like, I'd love not to. My deepest insecurity, I never intended on that. I always thought that I was going to be... So, there has been a lot of new faces on here in the past couple of weeks, especially on my Instagram account. But with a lot more people comes a lot of questions and people wondering a lot more about me. So that's why I decided to sit down today and do a get to know me video. Not really my usual style to sit down and chat, but you know what? It's actually kind of fun. Have a coffee, talk to you all, and we can get to know each other, of course. Also, if you like coffee, I just did a my favorite coffee shops in New York City video, the previous video before this. So anyways, let's get into the question. So the first one, who am I and where I'm from? So my name is Amy, as we've already established. If you're new here, hi, I'm Amy. I'm from County Clare in the west of Ireland, and I've just relocated to New York City. I post a lot about navigating life in my 20s, wellness, and my life here living in New York City. Now that that intro is done, let's get back to the video. I have just recently relocated to New York City though. So I moved here on the 18th of October, so just over a month ago. And my main reasonings for moving was for work. So that leads me on to my second question. Amy, what do you do for work? Now, I can understand that a lot of people are confused on this because I do a few things. So, number one, I run my very own one-to-one online coaching business. It's called Active with Amy. So with that, I teach things all fitness, mindset and nutrition as well at the same time. So it is basically an online personal training service, but my whole coaching ethos is stronger from the inside out. So I really focus in on the mindset side of things. My background is actually in psychology, believe it or not. On top of that, I have my own wellness products. I brought out a gratitude journal in January 2022 and they have sold out almost 4 times. We're on our 4th release now and we have to keep restocking them, which is amazing because it's something I'm really passionate about and I'm really glad people are getting into. I actually have my journal here, so let me show you one second. So this is my gratitude journal. It's a bit it's basically well loved. I use it every single day. I'm naturally like a very high gratitude person and I want to teach other people to do so. Again, I think it comes from just like my love for psychology and mindset and just helping people lead healthier, happier lives. So yeah, that's the journal there. I'll link them down below rather than getting into too much detail of them. But that is another thing that I do. So products. And OGs will remember I used to have resistance bands as well that I brought out during COVID actually, so that was January 2021. That was my first ever product business. So yeah, we've had a few things over the years, but they're my just absolute babies, those gratitude journals. But I'll link my website below again if you want to have a look at everything that's on there. On top of that then, I do work in the content creation space. Example A YouTube video. So yeah, I work in the content creation space as well and I do work with brands. So the main brand that I've kind of been working with over the last 2 years has been My Protein, and then we'll have some brands of course that I align with that I will work with throughout the year as well. I would never accept a brand opportunity if it's not something that I would use myself or I like myself. So everything that is, you know, everything that I do show or do promote, it's because I wholeheartedly love it myself. Like I have turned down a lot, especially since actually coming to New York, I've turned down a lot of opportunities and it's just because it doesn't align with me. So why would I promote something that doesn't align with me? So that is another side of my job as well. And then on top of that, last year I did also run wellness retreat events under my brand Active with Amy. So basically it was a day of mindfulness, of yoga, of good food, of exercise, and then mindset talks as well. So that is that as well. So basically I work in the fitness, wellness and content creation space, but it is very broad in what I do. I do a lot of things. Okay, next, why New York? The amount of questions being like, why did you move to New York? Which I understand, obviously. I'm here right now and people are probably like, why did she just move from Ireland to New York if you haven't been following me for a while? So moving to New York has been in the works, well, had been in the works for about 10 months. I started my visa process in January 2022. I got my visa in October 2022. And I moved out here ASAP as soon as I possibly could. The main reason being is I was always meant to move to New York. So I did 2 J1s in America before out in Long Island when I was 19 and when I was 20. I was meant to do a 3rd J1 in my final year of university, but COVID happened. Then after that, I was meant to do the grad visa for a year to come to New York, but again COVID happened, so I couldn't. So then I had to pivot and be like, well, what am I going to do now, because that's kind of my plans out the window. So long story short, I moved to Dublin for like on and off for a couple of years, and then I ended up moving to Bali in Indonesia. Always had New York in the back of my head. I just felt it wasn't the right time, so I moved to Indonesia for 5 months, was at home then for a little while, and then I decided, right, let's go ahead with moving to New York. And I found out that I was actually eligible for a visa. That's a whole other story in itself, and I did a whole YouTube video on my visa experience. So if you go back, you'll see it on my profile. So I was eligible for a visa, and I was like, amazing, because I didn't think my options were there anymore after the grad visa. But then after hearing that I was eligible for this O1 visa, I was like, right, we need to research this and see what happens. And of course I was eligible for it, so now we're here. So that's kind of why. It was always something I was meant to do, but then COVID pushed my plans off, and this year was the year that it happened. And one of the main reasons for moving here was just to further my career. So I'm a very hardworking person, and environment is everything for me. When I'm in Ireland or when I was living in Indonesia, I just didn't feel like I was living up to my potential in terms of work. When you're self-employed, I don't know about other self-employed people, but for me, for example, I always have so much going on in my head and so many ideas that I want to execute, and my environment will play a huge role in whether I execute those ideas or not. And I find when I'm in a busy city and like, you know, in a place that it's like fast-paced and people are working all the time and they're doing things and they're really successful, that then pushes me to be that. So that is exactly why I moved to New York, to really, really scale my business Active with Amy, and just to take content creation to the next level as well, because it's something I'm so interested in and something I'm really passionate about as well. So yeah, a long-winded answer, but that is why I have moved to New York City. Interesting one. How did I start? Okay, so this actually, it's a long story. I suppose this is a sit down. So grab your popcorn or grab your coffee. It's going to be a long one. I have always been interested in health and fitness. I've grown up my whole life playing GAA. For anybody that's not Irish, I played a sport called camogie, an Irish sport back home. I actually won't even try to describe it, but if you want to look it up, I'll write the title of the sport on the screen because it's spelled a bit differently. I've always grown up playing sports. I've always naturally been a bit skinnier as well. So when I was 16, I decided to join a gym to become stronger and improve my performance on the camogie field. When I joined the gym, I absolutely, fell in love with it immediately. So that was like my obsession with the gym. Then we fast forward to 2017. I was living in London at the time. I moved away every summer, so I moved to London. I was 18 at the time, and just before I moved in the March of 2017, I set up an Instagram page because I'd moved to university. I kind of let myself go a small bit in terms of like, I was socializing a small bit more. Alcohol was in my routine a small bit more, and then like my diet was like nuggets and chips, for example, because you're on a student budget when you're in college. So I kind of lost my way a small bit, and I found myself in the biggest physical body I've ever been in. Now, I wasn't big whatsoever, but in comparison to what I'd been my whole life. So I was like, okay, I want to get back on track. So I made an Instagram page to hold myself accountable and update it every day of everything I was doing, like my gym workouts, what I was eating, so on and so forth. And that Instagram page just started to grow momentum. I never intended for it to be anything, but it grew momentum, and then within 3 months it had 10,000 followers on it, which thinking back right now is absolutely crazy, but that is how I started. I never intended this to be my life, to be my business, to be something that I make my living doing. I'm so grateful that I do now, and I love it with all my heart, but I never intended on that. I always thought that I was going to be a teacher. I don't know if you can hear that right now, but there's some really loud sirens out the window, so wait for them to pass. So yeah, I never intended this to be my job. I thought my whole life I was going to be a primary school teacher. Like, genuinely, my parents wanted that for me. I got the points for that. But yeah, here we are. It just kind of fell into place. Everything just came as a result of doing one extra thing. It kind of compounded and snowballed. So the Instagram account started, that grew. I, gained confidence for posting on social media. Now, it hasn't been a linear journey. Like, it's been very up and down. Like, obviously you've judgments from people because back in a time when it wasn't, say, normal per se to be on social media or to post content on social media, people were like, what is your one Amy doing? What is this? What is that? Which, when you're trying to start something, it is very hard. So just to know, if you're going to start anything new, you will be judged by it. So just do whatever you enjoy and don't listen to them. But yeah, I started it that way, and then I went fully self-employed August 24th, 2021. So a lot kind of happened in between then. I finished university. I worked in a gym for a couple of months. I had my online coaching business kind of there, but it wasn't a business. Like, I kind of set it up. I'd got my PT cert, actually. Sorry, I forgot to mention that. I got my personal training cert when I was in third year of university because I had girls DMing me asking me to do programs for them. And although I had an absolute wealth of knowledge and I could have, I would never do that if I wasn't qualified. So I got my PT cert, and during COVID I got my sports nutrition diploma, distinction in that as well, which I was so proud of, and I got that on my birthday, which is even sweeter. Got that during COVID, and then August 2021 I went fully self-employed. Now, scariest decision of my life. I never knew what was going to come of it, but if you don't bite the bullet and try these things, you're never going to know what's going to come. And then I've just basically been doing it ever since, trying to improve it every day and learning every day, which is what you do in business as well. So for a very long-winded answer, that's how it started. It started by me setting up an Instagram page in 2017, and then years and years later, and whatever has happened in between led to it being my full-time job and the reason I was able to move to New York City. How did you go about moving to America? It's something I've been really thinking about lately. So for any America, New York City questions, I definitely recommend going back on my channel and watching my visa video. It goes into detail on everything you need to know about how I moved here. Am I going to bring my dog out to New York? So those dogs, the 3 dogs that I have are my family dogs. I miss them so much. wonder, can I show you? Look at Sandy. This is Sandy. She is so cute. We actually only got her, oh my god, I actually can't cope. She is adorable. We only got her this year in June, but I have 2 more dogs, Sadie and Riley. Riley Wiley, like, isn't that just the best name ever? But yeah, I have 3 more dogs, but they're my family dogs. So they're at home in County Clare and they're as loved as ever. And I can't wait to see them at Christmas time. So no, I won't be bringing the dogs out to New York as much as I would love to. They're my family dogs. Will you ever come back to Ireland to settle down? Good question. I honestly don't know. Like, I'm quite young. I'm 24. I don't imagine myself living in Ireland right now in the stage of my life that I'm at. See, the thing is, right, I love Ireland, but I feel like I've outgrown Ireland. Now, that could absolutely change, but I just think for kind of the scene I'm in, for the work I do and what I want to achieve, I don't think I will achieve everything I want to in my life living in Ireland. Now, down the line, when I'm having kids or plan to have kids or have a house and stuff, could think about that again, but I genuinely can't answer that question. If I was to answer it now, being a 24-year-old Amy, I don't see myself settling in Ireland, but again, that could change. I don't even know what I'm going to have for lunch tomorrow, let alone when I'm going to settle or where I'm going to settle, so I can't actually answer that. We just take each day as it comes and we figure it out as we go along. Did you do a master's? Final year panicking has definitely set in and I've no idea what to do after. No, I didn't do a master's. So I did an undergraduate 4-year degree in NYC and it was French and psychology with children's studies as well. Always thought I was going to be a teacher. I got the points to go to Mary I to do primary teaching, but I didn't want to go to Limerick because it was too close to home in Clare. So I decided to keep my options open and go to Galway. Such a good idea, like the best decision ever, because I now use psychology every single day in my job. So no, I didn't do a master's, but if none of this happened and I was to go back to be a teacher, I would have done the masters. It's normal also to not have things figured out right now. I genuinely don't think there's anybody in the world that knows exactly what they want to do. Just take each day as it comes and you will figure it out as you go along. That's what I live by, and I prefer to do that because it doesn't freak me out about life. I'm like, just take one day at a time and we'll figure the next step out tomorrow. That's how I deal with things. Are you going to do another 75-day challenge? I feel like there is no point joining late. So 75 hard is a challenge I'm personally doing myself. If people don't know what it is, I'm on day 68 today, so always done. For the past 68 days, I have been doing 2 workouts a day, 45 minutes each in duration. One has to be outdoors, drinking 3 to 4 litres a day, no alcohol, no cheat meals, reading 10 pages of a book, and then taking a progress picture every day. I've been doing that every day for 68 days, and I'm finished on day 75. Now, with the 75 hard challenge, they're not part of my coaching. It's just an online challenge that I've set up for myself to do, more so for discipline over everything else. But with my own coaching, Active with Amy, I am going to have a brand new, it's the first time I'm actually saying this, I'm going to have a brand new group coaching program coming out in January. It's going to be full of educational portals, videos on everything you need to know. Programs are going to cover an array of goals for each individual, be it home, gym workouts, fat loss, muscle building, cardio, so on and so forth, and a lot more in between. So that is coming in January and I'm very excited for that. So if it is coaching that you are looking for and you want help achieving your goals, keep an eye out on my socials and I'll have the announcement date for that for January, which I'm very excited about. Oh my god, it's the first time I said that out loud. How do you stay so motivated? Love your vlogs. Motivation is never going to last. I am just really, really disciplined, and I'm disciplined because I know what I need to do each day. I know what I want to achieve, and I'm going to show up for myself each day. Of course, there'll be days where I don't want to do it, but in reality, if you want to achieve something, you just have to show up and just do it. I'm not motivated every day. I really wish I was. It would make my life so much easier. But I think of the habits I've built up in my life, so through playing sport, through being a massive gym goer, through running a business, to do all of those things, you need to you need to be a disciplined person. You need to teach yourself to be that, and you need to build habits. Habits are literally the building blocks of your life and what you're going to achieve. So building up on your habits, getting rid of your bad ones, which takes time, building your new ones, which take time. So yeah, not motivated all the time, just disciplined. I time block in my calendar what I need to do every single day, and I need to tick those off every day if I want to move forward. So it's just a matter of setting the intention and showing up for yourself by doing what you need to do. Just also to add to that question, I like to imagine my end goal. So I have a goal in my head of what I want to achieve. And if I ever find myself like on a day where I'm like, I don't want to do this, it's the last thing I want to do, and so on and so forth, I remind myself of why I'm doing said things. A big driving force behind everything that I do are my family. So there's a massive family goal that I have in my head that I want to achieve. So if there's ever a day that I'm kind of low on motivation, which does happen quite a lot, and I'm low on discipline, we'll say, I'm just like, I remind myself of why I'm doing what I'm doing. And I think having a why behind the things you do will make it a lot easier to stick to it, especially on the days that you don't want to, because it's going to be a lot of those, I can assure you. Do you miss playing camogie/GAA? Yes. So if there is one thing that gives me FOMO from home, it is the GAA. I've grown up my whole life playing GAA, camogie and football. Camogie is my main sport though, and it is the one thing I miss the most when I move away from home. Like, I honestly just love it so much. Like, do you know, you grow up your whole life playing sports with the same girls from your club. You play with such pride, and like, you just love the sport. Like, it's an amateur sport. You love the sport because you put so much commitment into it. Do you know what I mean? You have to love it if you're going to stick by it. Even when like the camogie seasons, like Clare Camogie back home, or do you know, the Clare GAA starts back home and I'm abroad, I honestly miss it so much. Like, that is the one time that I crave being at home because I just love the sport so much. So yeah, in short, I miss it all the time. I miss, you know, my teammates. I miss the girls. Like, we'd meet up every single week back home. Yeah, it's definitely up there with the top 3 things I miss the most about home. But there comes a stage where you have to move on from it, which is so sad. Like, I'd love not to, but I could stay home and play camogie for the rest of my life, or I could move to New York and grow my business and build a better life for myself from being here. So yeah, I miss it, but it's not enough to keep me at home anymore. But wondering, have you done a course for content creating? If so, which one? Enjoy New York City. Thank you. No, I have not done a course in content creation. This has all been self-taught and self-learned. I am extremely interested and extremely passionate about content creation. I'm into like these really deep things. So like, I love poetry, I love creating, I love like beauty and admiration of little things is one of my characteristic traits. I remember doing like a online quiz before, and it was like one of my top 5 things, and I think that comes from the art of anything. So the art of creating, the art of like, say, videography or photography, or even like poetry, for example, they're very like in-depth things that if you really are interested in them, you have to go into the bones of them to understand them. So for example, like content creation, I've always been interested in it. Like, I love seeing the world, capturing the world and sharing it for other people in the form of a story. Like, I find that so interesting. So no, I'm just self-taught. I'm so interested in it, and like, I spend at least an hour or 2 a day learning about new things. So like, I even started like editing on a new software this year in January, called CapCut, by the way, if anyone's wondering. I had no idea how to use it, no idea, but from like, you know, learning from like January to now November, I've gotten considerably better at it, and like the art of content creation and video because of it. And it's just so nice, because the greater your education on something, the more you can like create what you're visualizing in your head to show to people. So no, I didn't do a course, I'm all self-taught, and I just love it. It's so fun. What age did you know you wanted to move to the city of dreams? I didn't know at a young age that I wanted to move to New York. I always knew I wanted more out of life, and I now know that comes from running my own businesses. I think moving to New York and wanting to move here and try living in the city definitely came after my second J1. So I did my second J1 in Long Island, just off New York, in 2019. So I was 20 at the time, and I was like, I could see myself living here for a couple of years. That's where it came from. When I was growing up, I always thought I was going to move to Australia. I think that's an Irish thing, right? You're like, oh my God, when I'm older, I'm going to move to Australia. It's going to be sunny. I'm going to live on the beach. Do you know what I mean? And I did go to Bondi. I went last year, and I went this year to Sydney. Sorry, Bondi was the place I had in my head from growing up, as we all do from growing up watching Bondi Rescue. I don't know if anybody else did, but I did. My sister, we were obsessed. But yeah, I always thought I was going to move to Australia, but then went there last year, and I went there this year, and I was like, it doesn't really align with what I'm trying to achieve right now. Like, to grow a business, I personally am so affected by my environment that I was like, I need to move to somewhere where people are always pushing to do better, where opportunity is there, where it's easy to network and so on and so forth. And that was New York. So yeah, I would say the first thoughts of it was when I was 20. Always thought I was going to move to Australia, but then just as my life kind of went on and how my life played out and becoming self-employed and stuff, yeah, I ended up just moving here. Yeah, I'd say, yeah, 20 onwards. And then 24, we got here. Someone asked about my deepest insecurities, and I don't think I'm going to answer that question. I think everybody has their own insecurities, but like voicing it and telling other people about it makes other people aware of it, so then it makes you more hyper conscious of it, if that makes sense. So my deepest insecurities are going to stay in here. Who asked that? Thomas. Very interesting question. Things I wish I knew before moving to New York City. I'm going to change this question to things I wish I knew before I moved anywhere, because I know a lot of people have kind of emigrated this year. What I would say, I was just actually on a podcast this morning, we were talking about this exact thing. You do not know how much stuff you have to do until you move country. For example, when you're living at home in your home house, you always have like your toothpaste there, your shampoos, your toilet paper, your washing powder, and so on and so forth. When you move to a new country and you move into your new apartment, You have to figure that all out yourself. So just being aware of that, and also being, like, I suppose, patient with yourself, knowing it's not going to fall into place straight away. I'm here 4 weeks, still don't feel settled. I'm like working whilst getting settled, whilst trying to figure out a routine. So just know that that does take time. But I kind of knew that from living in different countries before. Like, I've previously lived in London, in Belgium, in Indonesia. I've lived now in New York as well. So just know it doesn't all fall into place straight away. It takes time, and it will be stressful. Like, it will. You're uprooting your whole life. You're changing place. You're moving country. Just be patient with yourself, and each day gets a little bit better. You will be homesick. That is normal too. It's all a part of it. But yeah, you learn as you go along. How old am I? I am 24 years old, born on the 14th of December 1998, so that'll make me 25 next month, which is kind of weird to say out loud, like 25. Do you know when you're younger and you imagine an age, 25 is that age where I'm like, ooh, that feels a little bit old. So I'm 25 next month. Ooh, kind of stings, that one. But tell us a random fact about you that nobody knows. Random fact, I am obsessed with music, and when I was 11 I taught myself to play the piano by ear. Now, it was just like learning songs by ear and like playing it, so I don't physically know the notes on the piano. But yeah, I have been always extremely interested in music. A huge passion of mine. Actually played the violin for a while I was younger as well. I used to sing at a lot of like school kind of events and stuff, and actually I sang at like college events, like balls and everything. So yeah, music is a massive passion of mine. It's something that scares the life out of me because I don't know, it kind of scares me to share because it means so much to me. I don't know if that's a weird way of looking at it, but I just love it so much. So yeah, music is a massive part of my life, and I think it also is the reason why I'm obsessed with like all these kind of, we'll say, deeper things. Like, I'm obsessed with poetry as well, and then like obviously I spoke about before, filmmaking and photography and all that type of stuff. So just a very creative person. But yeah, I think that's a fun fact about myself. And then there has been a lot of questions coming in asking who the guy is in all of my videos recently. Now, I don't really share my personal life online. Like, I get that I am, like, you know, we'll say a public figure per se, as in like I am a content creator. I do share my life and like what I do, but my personal side of my life is something that I've always chosen to keep private, and it will always stay that way, like forever. So without going into too much detail, that is my long-term boyfriend. And yeah, that is all I'm going to say about it, because there comes a stage, I think, in social media when you do share your life that you need to keep some things to yourself. And I want my relationship to be completely private. I want my family to be completely private, and it's not something that I don't think I will ever share. And I don't mind sharing my whole life with you. That is absolutely no problem. But when it comes to other people that I really care about, that's where I draw the line, and I'm like, I'm not comfortable with sharing that, if that makes sense. So yeah, just to clear that up. Okay, thank you so much for watching today's video. I hope you learned a few more nuggets of information about me. There's a lot more about me than, you know, I would have, I suppose, addressed in this video, but we only have a certain amount of time in these videos. But if you have any more questions, you can pop them below in the comments and I'll be on there to answer them. But yeah, thank you for following along on the journey. I'm honestly so grateful that you're all here. It's really fun and really fulfilling to like show my life living here for you guys to experience as well, because I know like not everybody is going to have the opportunity to move to New York and move new country and stuff. So for me to be able to share that with you, and for you to maybe, if you want to, live vicariously through me, that makes me very happy, because it means that you get to experience what I'm experiencing, and I'm just showing it to you all through a lens, which honestly makes me so happy. So yeah, thank you so much, and yeah, we'll catch you in the next video.